Now that we know how the value of an apartment is determined, let's see how we can use this knowledge to increase the value of our apartment. Remember that value equals NOI divided by cap rate. So to increase the value, we either need NOI to increase or cap rate to decrease, or ideally both. Let's start with cap rate. Since cap rate is in the denominator of our valuation equation, we can see that as cap rates in an area decrease or compress, the property values in that area increase. If cap rates increase, property values decrease. Let's look at an example. Say our NOI over the last year was $100,000 and the current cap rate of our given submarket is 5%. The value of our property is $100,000 divided by 0.05 or 5%, which equals $2 million. Now let's say over the year the market has gotten hotter and the cap rate has decreased to 4.5%. The property is now worth just over $2.2 million. What if the market cooled off and the cap rate is now 5.5%? The value is now decreased to just over $1.8 million. In a hot market, cap rates compress, which is great for sellers as their property's value increases without any effort. Well, we don't have any control over the cap rate, so unless we have a crystal ball, buying under the assumption that cap rates will compress by the time we sell is risky. We can make an educated guess on where cap rates will trend by doing thorough market research and ensuring we are in good areas with strong economic drivers, but banking on continued cap rate compression is not the conservative approach we take. We always want to assume cap rates will increase during our holding period, and if they stay the same or compress, that's just icing on the cake. Now let's look at the part of the valuation equation that we do have control over, the NOI. Remember that net operating income is determined by taking all the income and subtracting all the operating expenses. So to increase NOI, we either need to increase income or decrease expenses, or both. And because value is determined by dividing by the cap rate, even seemingly small increases in NOI can add significant value. The most obvious way to increase income is to increase rent to market rates that are in line with similar competitors. As an example, if current rents at a 100-unit property were averaging $1,000 and you were able to achieve a 5% rent increase across all units, the average rent would then be $1,050. So how much value would that add to the property, assuming the cap rate is 5%? Well, that's $50 a month increase in revenue per unit. So 100 units is a $5,000 per month increase and an annual increase of $60,000. But to determine the actual value that added to the property, we still need to divide by the cap rate of 5%, which means we added $1.2 million of value. Let's look at another example. Say we paid $12,000 to add 10 covered parking spaces that can rent for $40 a month per space. If we were able to rent all the spaces, that's $400 per month or $4,800 per year increase in revenue. That doesn't sound like much, but at a 5% cap rate, increases the value by $96,000. Let's look at an example on the expense side of the NOI equation. Say our 100-unit property is all bills paid, meaning tenants don't pay for any utilities. If this is an older property, it is likely that toilets and faucets are not efficient and therefore wasting water at our expense. We look at the T12 profit and loss statement and see the water and sewer cost was $100,000 over the last year. What if we paid a water conservation company $60,000 to come in and change out every toilet and faucet to low flow with aerators as well as find hidden leaks? Even if we only decrease water consumption by 20%, that is $20,000 a year in expense savings, which translates to a $20,000 increase in NOI. At a 5% cap rate, that increases our property value by $400,000. These are just a few examples of how implementing a business plan that increases not just rents, but creates opportunities for other income while simultaneously fighting to decrease expenses can add exponential increases to the property's value. We can't control the cap rate, but with good operations and asset management, we certainly can increase the NOI. Thanks for joining. Until next time, be blessed.